Hello, my name is Jonathan Keaton, and this will be a presentation on Bridging the Digital Divide, a global and ethical analysis of internet inequality. Okay, so what is the digital divide? Well, the digital divide can be described as the present disparity between populations of people who have access or easy access to the internet and those who do not. It's not just a physical divide either, it's also a divide in digital literacy. Digital literacy can be described in many ways, but the best definition is not just being able to access the internet and websites, but also knowing and understanding how to gain access to services, programs, and being able to discern truth from fiction. A great example is the surge of AI and being able to tell AI from real videos. This is a new factor that can add to digital literacy and is something that those without digital literacy will struggle to point out in the future. According to data from the International Telecommunications Union, approximately 67% of the world's population, or about 5.4 billion people, had online access in 2023, showing a 4.7% increase from 2022. However, about 2.6 billion people, or 33% of the world, remain offline. This shows just how big the digital divide from a global perspective still is. There are many causes to the digital divide. However, there are few gathered by Landry Singh of Global Economy and Development and Africa Growth Initiative in an op-ed written for Brookings.edu. As you can see, there are many types of causes for a divide in digital access. Physical access is a component that deals with infrastructure, but financial access can also be due to infrastructure as well as living in a rural area or somewhere where an internet company may not see a financial gain or need to set up around there. Socio-demographic and cultural access tends to fall into the same branch, where depending on your status and where you live, you may have less access to the internet or even restricted access based on what the government allows you to have access to. Cognitive access is the more digital literacy dependent one, where you may have physical access to the internet, yet don't have the literacy to access and find the things you need due to lack of knowledge and skills. The impact that the digital divide has on education may seem minor, but will affect students as they get older and begin to enter the workforce. Having uneasy access to materials and videos to study with and learn can cause some students to fall behind or be less prepared for upcoming assignments. As the world moves to become more and more digital, the younger generation is expected to keep up and continue with advancements. However, if digital access is restricted, then becoming more digitally literate will be challenging. When digital literacy skills are impacted and impaired, the workforce skills will be less appealing, thus causing a lower economic growth for households where digital literacy is low. Lower income households and minority groups are more likely to have less access to digital devices, keeping them digitally illiterate in a technologically advancing world. The impact that digital skills have on the workforce is pretty staggering, as more and more jobs begin to require having at least one or more digital skills. The need for digital literacy becomes more mandatory. With the advent of job boards and online applications, even just applying for and looking for employment has become a very digitally connected and online thing. Besides just applying for and looking for jobs, networking and marketing requires one to be digitally connected, having the digital literacy to be able to look up a company website and learn about the market and the things they look for. Their mission statement, clients, and such is all a part of the hiring process and will greatly impact an individual without the know-how and the digital literacy skills to complete such a task. Having a form of social media such as LinkedIn is practically mandatory in most job applications and can increase the network of job seekers, providing better opportunities and higher and quicker advancements through their place of employment. For businesses, being able to correctly and effectively market themselves is a massive boost in business and can even make or break some companies and industries. On top of helping private and small businesses to succeed within the global economy, the digital divide can also affect those within the workforce or just entering. According to the National Skills Coalition, approximately 92% of jobs require digital skills within the U.S. labor market. This means that anyone looking for employment is basically required to have some digital skills in order to even be considered in the vast majority of jobs and positions within the U.S. labor market. Not only is that a staggering amount, but those with even just one digital skill can earn up to 23% more than not having them. They will almost always guarantee that an individual seeking employment will earn less. Social and cultural implications caused by the digital divide include but are not limited to racial and socioeconomic opportunities within the United States. 8 out of 10 white adults report owning a digital device compared to 69% of black adults and 67% of Hispanic adults. Another study done by California Budget and Policy Center showed that 29% of Latinx and 28.5% of black K through 12 students did not have a computer or high-speed internet compared to 13.4% of white K through 12 students within the California school system. Globally developed countries such as the United States and those within Europe, like Germany, have about 90% of the population using the internet compared to developing countries like those found within the continent of Africa, who only have about 37% of the population using the internet. Low-income households, especially those within racial minority communities, are significantly more likely to lack broadband access. A lack of infrastructure is also a great cause of lacking digital access within rural communities. All this information provided ties into some of the ethical arguments for reducing the digital divide and providing greater and better access to the internet globally. From a utilitarian framework, having more of the population have digital access would be a good thing. This is because it's for the greater good, because if everyone has access to the internet and better digital literacy skills, then the workforce would improve, meaning income and economic improvements would be provided for all. Better communication and global communication would also increase, as well as employment and education, providing even more benefit from giving everyone access to the internet. When applying Rawls' theory of justice, fixing the digital divide will decrease the current inequality globally that mainly affects disadvantaged communities and those with lower income, especially in developing countries. This in turn would be just and provide justice for more, as well as only affecting those at the highest percentile negatively. Some of the strategies to reduce the digital divide on a global scale include improving the current infrastructure, as well as creating government programs to aid those without access in gaining access, and providing educational programs that teach digital literacy skills, including digital literacy and digital skill programs within grade schools, could also improve the digital divide and help bridge the current gap. In conclusion, the digital divide is a global and ethical issue affecting 1/3 of the global population. Infrastructure and literacy skills are issues that must be addressed to bridge the digital divide. However, they will require governmental and social reform to be properly and effectively implemented. The digital divide is an issue that causes economic and social inequality, and reducing the gap will result in better quality of life for all those negatively affected by it. Thank you for your time, and I hope that this has provided good context for the digital divide issue that is affecting the globe.